Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we got this crown for the Alpha Pariah and ended up killing the Harlequin, and after we returned to the ship we were talked to by the Ordos, the representatives for each of the Ordo Xenos, Hereticus, and Malleus in the area, and they effectively said, well, most of them, effectively just the Ordo Hereticus said, hey, yeah, we can close the Dark Nexus using the Alpha Pariah, but first I want to use her capabilities against Fabius Bile, since he's in the area, while Ordo Malleus was both for it and cautious, and Ordo Xenos was worried that because Bile had some hand in the creation of the Pariah, that there would be issues. If you want the full version, it's at the end of last episode. But with that all said and done, now we get to enter the stronghold of Fabius Bile.
So, it has come to this. We are in the tainted fortress of the primogenitor that even his own traitorous brothers despise and fear. That's what I was expected to say, right?
I find your increasing cynicism slightly troubling.
I find your very fast movement a bit troubling. But hearing all the talk of the Dark Nexus, it just reminds me of the Dark Nexus Arena MOBA that came out sometime, I can't even remember exactly, in the 2010s. It wasn't bad. It was pretty fun. It didn't offer anything unique. It wasn't some kind of new experience.
Guards. Someone is trying to make our mission either easier or even more complicated.
Well, considering we have Dead Plague Marine, Dead Dark Eldar, I think we can guess who it is. But with Dark Nexus Arena, it was cool.
I am not a creature.
It was cool. I feel like it didn't do enough to stand out. I think one thing that would have been cool is you have your team vote on your minion type.
I understand.
So maybe
Drukhari only attacked Bile's fortress because they were certain that you would be there.
Uther expected that. He always thought that the Eldari factions would be after me. That was one of the many reasons he kept me on a ship monastery.
They were following Bile's steps all the way to keep track on you. They must be desperate to capture or kill you.
Some abomination crawling out of the webway will not frighten me anymore, Inquisitor.
but vote on the minions and effectively pick what type you want. You know, you have orcs, which would be good in melee as minions, but their ranged attacks might be really inaccurate. More health than standard. You'd have, you know, like some form of Dark Eldar experiment, like an Urgle Wretch or something. As one, you could have...
How are you faring down there, Inquisitor?
There have been some developments, like the Drukhari Marauders and Bile's scum killing each other without mercy.
And there goes the last trace of my guilt for being on watch duty on my ship.
For a while, I suspected that the Dark Eldar were working for Bile, but that is not the case.
Obviously not. The Dark Eldar will never bow their heads before anyone else, no matter how powerful.
Then you could have guardsmen who've been trapped in the Dark Nexus and thrown into the arena as minions who might be, you know, they have average range attack, weak melee, but they also have the advantage of their health it being low, but their numbers being higher than any other group. So you can use them as more of a swarm tactic. I'd like to see stuff like that just to make MOBAs have a bit more of a team build when it comes to creeps. Creeps, mobs, ads, whatever you want to call them, minions. That was always a problem I had with League, was the only things you could do were the Banner of Command, I think it was, to promote a guy, and then, you know, summoning extras with like the ZZ Rot portal, or just minor stuff like that, and it made it so the minions just weren't worth thinking about, and I feel like there's such an important aspect of the game that they need to be something that you can vary and upgrade or have play a different factor. Because then you could introduce, I think it'd be cool to even introduce some items that are bound to certain characters. You know, you might have a Space Marine captain, or an Imperial Guard captain, or commissar, who could get an item that boosts maybe the attack rate for ranged attacks on minions within a certain radius. Well, it's going to be more effective on, say, guardsmen, who you would be spawning in more of than, say, orcs. Or another group, maybe there's a group of minions who just have no ranged attack at all. I just think there's interesting ways you could do a MOBA that's 40k while making it stand out. All I can think of is Dawn of War 3 when the devs are like, oh yeah, we drew inspiration from MOBAs.
Inquisitor, do you feel a constant, horrible sensation? Like walking in the nightmare of an insane mind?
The proximity of Dark Nexus plays tricks on reality. And by the way, that was a very poetic observation.
If you spend your waking hours in laboratories and meditation chambers, books become your best friends. You know, Uso was not entirely a monster. Still, I wish I could have faced him like I will face Bile soon.
But I just think of, like I said, Dawn of War 3, oh, we took inspiration from MOBAs. You really shouldn't. Take inspiration from the games you're trying to make. That would be like me saying, oh yeah, I'm making a FPS, so I'm taking inspiration from SeaWorld Tycoon. Anybody who looks at that or hears that is gonna think I'm insane. Yeah, making a game kind of like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. That's why I drew inspiration from Grand Theft Auto. You can't always fit things in. But I miss Dark Nexus Arena. It had the curse, like I said, of not being very remarkable, and then the fact that it came out in the MOBA glut. So everybody was already pretty preoccupied with MOBAs, and it's kinda hard to sell people on a new one. You know, that's something I just kind of noticed, is there's a lot of game genres where you can't... The market can't flood very well, otherwise you just end up with really bad copycats because the mechanics are just not forgiving enough to allow much variation. But then you have games like this. The ARPG genre is so broad, and even...
There she is! Kill the monkey and take that creature!
I will enjoy watching you try.
You might have defeated my brother, but you should fear me.
Your brother? That was the bug we found crawling on our ship? He didn't put up much of a fight.
She's right. You'd be better off fleeing and finding someone weaker in your dark city to torture.
I don't want to torture her. Believe it or not, I am willing to forfeit pleasure for a greater goal. The Whispering God will have the Anathema Ultima. She will be devoured, and our time will come.
Not on my watch.
But, as I was saying, like, a game like this, the ARPG genre, you can make so many different games. Even within just fantasy, you have, you know, Diablo, you have Chaos Bane, you have Path of Exile, there's The Adventures of Van Helsing, there's Dark something, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Can we finally move along and kill that wretched Fabius Bile? Fate awaits.
Not before we purge this entire area. I don't want any surprises yet.
It will be my pleasure.
But each one, even though mechanically they're very similar, you know, run around, smack stuff, get loot, upgrade loot, smack more stuff, each one does unique things. You know, you look at how Inquisitor has the weapons and them being what defines your skills. You have Path of Exile with the gem slots that affect what abilities you have and how those abilities are modified. You have Diablo with their abilities and how you have the runes that change their effects. There's so much you can do within the genre, and I feel like we're still just scratching the surface. You could even count Borderlands as an ARPG, and that feels like a completely different animal. I won't say limitless, but there's a very large amount of possibilities. I finagle some space? Yes, I can. If I just move you here, you up, you here. Not much else I can do. Wish I didn't have all these stupid things that I can't use. Whoa. Look at that face. Oh, I love those UI glitches. Actually, I'm gonna quick dumpster some stuff because I can guarantee I'm gonna probably get something that's better. especially better than greens. But I just feel like the ARPG genre just isn't... It hasn't been flooded. And I think you could even start doing some hybridizing between, you know, games like this, or actually this would be a prime example, or a cool example. This and, say, Souls games. You know, Souls-like. You suddenly have all these different things you have to deal with, different elemental resists on armor, carry weight, very hard bosses. Honestly, as I say that and I think about it, I would love a Souls game set in 40K. It would be brutal as can be, but I think it fits. Why do you have all these mines? But a Souls 40K game would be very interesting. You have a main story, then you have a bunch of random gen dungeons and missions, kind of like the random assignments you can do by talking to the astropath on the ship, giving you, random gen dungeons. You could have random missions anyways. Once again, just random gen environments. Throw a boss at the end. You can do a bunch of different modifiers and things.
To hear that the Drukhari were following this whispering god. That puts them in the same league as your treacherous Harlequin friend.
First, it was only a loose point. Secondly, such cooperation is not unheard of, although it is a fairly recent occurrence. Various Eldar and Dark Eldar groups are combining their forces to join that mysterious cult.
I find this development most troubling.
That's the Inquisitor who's on his way to fulfill an ancient prophecy.
The more I think about that whole Souls idea for a 40K game, the more excited I am about it. Because that would just be really cool. I would have to demand a DLC that is set on Space Hulks. Not because I like Space Hulk the game, but because there's such an amalgam of environments. Ships of every design, and just caves with who knows what in them, between them and whatnot. Such a design begs for a very good random gen dungeon game. And I think that Souls style design mixed into it would be really cool. And now that I think about it too, a Souls game with guns has been done. That's what Remnant from the Ashes is. Which I actually have and have been playing. It's really good. Really good. Really good. That's a man in a vat.
The Hound of the Corpse Emperor. So glad you are here.
You almost sound relieved, traitor. So keen to atone for your sins?
Our master has been expecting you, Inquisitor, and you have come. Good. I like things to be predictable. You are unlike the Drukhari filth, storming us so unexpectedly. Most annoying.
You could even another idea would be you could even start introducing kind of an alignment system where you could get weapons that are corrupt or tainted by chaos. If you want to make playing as, you know, a Space Marine or something the main focus, and then from there you could have it kind of like how it is in Dawn of War 2, at least for the Space Marines, where it actually affects your characters, or your character in this case.
We have fought our way through.
And you could end up fighting
I have a destiny to
the
fulfill,
Empire
remember?
at some point.
Patience. We need to regroup on the ship. Then we can storm Bile's inner sanctum.
You know, kind of becoming evil in the process. Man, I'm selling myself on this idea. It's really good. At least I think so. Man, I was really hoping for better loot. Oh well. So, that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.